Hey everyone, I forgot to put me on. I was like, why are they not showing me? And it's because I forgot. Anyway, I am Coach Linda and I'm here with the bonus session, I guess you can say, as a part of my 100 days of purpose. I am coming with the bonus session as promised because I believe that a lot of you are probably dealing with this. And many times we deal with things and we're not really sure the where it initiates from. We just know that we're dealing with something, and we know we don't feel quite like ourselves, but we don't know how to or what to do to make it better. And so I kind of want to talk to you, and I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible. I want to talk to you about dealing with dealing with me. And what I mean that is you put you there. So I'm teaching you how to deal with you and not to project it onto others and blame others. So the other flip part of that is let's deal with us, let's deal with the me and not and stop blaming other people for what we think is not going right in our lives. And so what I found is that there are about 6 steps that people need to take in order to really embrace this and really understand this. So let's start here. It's true that if you don't control your emotions and get a handle on your mental state of being, that you're going to have problems. And those problems are going to be more than just he don't like me, she don't like me, he said this, he did this, or my boss is trying to do this. It's going to be a lot more. It's going to spill over into every area of your life. And when I say every area of your life, I'm talking mentally, spiritually, emotionally, academically, relationships, so relationals, um, it's just your professional life and your personal life. It's going to spill over, and you're going to try to build relationships. You're going to try to have meaningful relationships, and there's going to always be this misstep. It's this skipping. And so it's true, if you don't deal with your emotions, if you don't deal with your mental state of being, then you're going to have problems, and those problems are going to spill into every area of your life. On the flip side of that is if you decide that you're going to try to understand you. I haven't been yawning until I came on to do this. I don't know what it is when I think I have something really important to say that I start yawning on the live. So if I yawn, please know that it's not because I'm bored or tired or any of that, but it's because something is trying to keep me from saying what I need to say. And I'm going to say it because it's live, and whatever happens, happens. I didn't even put on makeup for this um, because I wanted to come on here and say it. So on the flip side of that is that if you try to get an understanding of who you are and the human behavior behind who you are, then you're going to have more control of your emotions, more control of your mental state of being. And thus, you're going to be able to handle your problems in a more respectful and conducive way, right? You're going to be able to handle those problems and not spin them into bigger webs, not spin them out of control or have them come back and take over your life, right? And so, what I want to talk to you today about is how do you handle you? How do you handle and deal with your issues? and not project them onto other people and not blame other people for what you're going through in your life. Now, I said earlier, and I stand behind it, I don't change it. There are things that have happened in your life that you had no control over. There are traumas and things that have occurred. And I am not saying you don't blame the person who did those things against you. You don't blame them. What I'm saying is how you blame them has to change. Okay. You've got to learn to forgive. In everything that I'm talking, I'm not going to talk a lot about forgiveness today, but maybe I'll come back on another day and talk about forgiveness. But you're going to have to learn how to forgive and not be bitter towards that person. That doesn't mean that you have to be in their face every single day and trying to be their best friend, but it does mean you have to release them from the thing that they did to you so you can be free yourself. Okay. Um, but what I'm talking about is projection, okay? And we project a lot. We project onto others how we truly feel. We project onto others how we truly think. We project onto others, we'll say, oh, well, this person was doing that and that person was doing that, and that's the reason why I couldn't get ahead. This person was against me and that person was talking about me, and I asked this one to help me and they didn't want to help me, and so I couldn't get the job, or I couldn't get to this, or I couldn't make that happen in my life, and so it's their fault. Okay, so I'm talking about those things because when we are projecting onto others, basically, let me read let me read this because I want to say it as quick as possible and I don't want to be on here all night. So, there is a such thing called psychological projection, and it is a defense mechanism in which the ego defends itself against the unconscious impulses or qualities, both positive and negative, by denying their existence in themselves and contributing them to others. Okay. And so, for case in point, is you're feeling confused about something. And so you sit there, and you're thinking, I don't truly understand what Linda's trying to say. And instead of saying, I don't understand what Linda's trying to say, maybe I should ask a question, or maybe I should, approach her and see what it is she's really trying to say so I can get a better understanding. We will say, oh, well, she didn't know what she was talking about. She was talking in circles. It didn't make no sense to me. She was confused about what she was trying to say. And so we are projecting onto the other person how we truly feel or what we truly believe about ourselves. And we're denying that it exists in us. And the same is true for positive things. Somebody will do a great job and accomplish a great feat, and people will be like, oh, wow, you did a good job. Da, da. Oh, well, I couldn't have done it without so and so. Da, 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 da. It was her and her wisdom, and we project what we really contributed to the project. We project it onto someone else because we want to deny that that's on the inside of us. And so when I'm talking about projecting, that's what I'm talking about when I say stop blaming other people. Okay. So we've got to understand that what we're doing is shifting our emotions, shifting our thoughts, shifting our behaviors onto someone else because we feel inadequate, right? So the same is true for a bully. A bully may, because they are trying to hide their vulnerability, pick on someone that they feel is weak, right? And I mentioned a confused person will, instead of just admitting that I'm confused, they will try to say that the other person was confused. And so we start to incorporate blame onto other people, and we shift it from ourselves, which then starts to manifest what is known as shame dumping. Okay. And shame dumping is what your violator did to you. because they had something that happened in their lives that they're ashamed of. And so they did something to you that now makes you ashamed of it. So it's shame dumping. And, we talk about that. We talk about, men who, uh, make women feel inadequate because of their sexuality. If they feel that a woman is too sexy, then they say stuff, and it's shame dumping, it's body shaming, and it's all of these other things. And so there's a lot of little things that we can get into, but I'm trying to stay focused. So when we are shifting the blame onto other people, it can manifest as shame dumping. And projection has been described as an early phase of introjection. So, introjection, since I brought that up, introjection is the process by which the subject replicates behaviors and attribute to other, or I should hold on, let me see how I want to say it. The subject or the person replicates behaviors attributed to others onto themselves, right? um and so basically what happens is you hang out with women that are very confident and outspoken and out who are not. So when you start to get into this projection of things, remember it's positive and it's good. So you see these women being confident, but you feel that you're not confident. And so then you put on a mask that now tries to pretend as though you're as confident as the people that you're hanging out with. And so that becomes introjection. It's you putting on something on the inside of you taking on something on the inside of you that was never intended for you, good or bad. And you are now saying that is who you are, or that is a part of you. Okay. So again, if you have questions, make sure that you write them in the comments and or email me, or go to the website and leave a message, whatever, however you want to get it to me. I know sometimes people don't want to ask things in public forum, but again, if you need an answer, don't be afraid to get your answer, because you're working on you. You're dealing with you. Okay. Um, so basically, introjection is considered a self um, stabilitating defense, um, which then causes a person to start to act out. Okay, it causes a person to start to do things that they would not normally do, because now they're taking on behaviors that don't belong to them. Okay. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a foundation of what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to give you these 6 steps, and then we're going to be out of here. Because, like I said, I don't want to be here all night, because I got to do one more after this. Okay. So, not to you guys, but I got to go do this same thing. I don't know. I'm probably going to say different stuff because I didn't really write it down. I have some notes that I'm following, but I didn't really write anything down. And I'm just kind of flowing with the knowledge that I have on the inside of me and the notes that I have to keep me on point. Okay. So, um, said earlier, if you deal with your emotional and your mental state of being, then you're able to have a good understanding of human nature and human behavior, and control your emotions, and you can deal with any situation, any circumstance, any problem that comes your way. You're able to then sit down objectively and deal with it, and not become subject to what's coming at you. Okay. Or subjected to what's coming at you. And that way, that will allow you to enjoy life to the fullest. And what are we talking about over 100 days of purpose? We're talking about being a person of purpose. We're talking about being strategic, intentional, and on purpose on everything that you do. Take that sip. But you can't take that sip if you have not gone in and fostered the environment around you to be conducive to being a person of purpose. Okay. If you're not in control of your emotions and your mental state of being, if you're not in control of your finances, if you're not in control of who you allow in your life and who you release out of your life, if you're not doing these things, then it's hard for you to be strategic and intentional. It's hard for you to live a life of purpose because you'll always have these people coming in and pulling you back and pulling you away from what is divinely stated for you. Okay. So number one is don't ever try to control other people. Okay. Um, the case in point is you control all of this. And when I'm saying all of this, I'm not talking about you control me. I'm saying you control your body. You control your thoughts, where you sit, how you interact with the world. That's what you control. How you react or act to situations. That's what you control. You control your behaviors. Okay. What you think about, what you talk about. That's what you can control. So don't try to control somebody else. Don't try to make somebody else who you are, because then you are now taking on things that you can't control. You're taking on things that were never supposed to be in your control. Okay. So don't try to control other people. Number two, don't expect too much. Many times we go into a situation and we're like, oh, he's going to love me. He's going to marry me, blah, 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 blah. Or, oh, I'm going to get this job and I'm going to get this promotion and get that. And we go in with high expectations and then we're let down. And that leads to depression. That leads to frustration. That leads to confusion. And so all of these things are built up because we went in with great anticipation and great expectation. Now, I'm not saying don't expect. I'm saying have a realistic mindset about what could happen. And you can even say, because I do this all the time, best case scenario is I go here. And worst case scenarios, I go here. But most likely it's going to be right here in the middle. Right. So when I go in with that. And then if it goes over here, then woo! If it goes over there, then how do I get it back to that middle point where I'm getting what I want? So I'm not frustrated and feeling like I'm being overutilized in a bad situation. Okay. So don't go in expecting too much. Have some realistic expectations. Number three, don't allow your negative feelings to grow. Don't foster them. Don't nurse them. Don't sit there and pet them and play with them and give them control over you. Because negativity brings us down. Negativity steals from us. Negativity will rob us of our joy. And so we have got to know when those negative thoughts start coming, what are we going to do about it? We have to have a game plan. This isn't about the game plan, so I'm not going to go there. But you've got to have a game plan on how you're going to deal with the negative thoughts and the negative images and the limiting beliefs, like I talked about earlier today. The limiting beliefs that you may have. You've got to have a game plan. When I start to think this way, I will. And it has to be something drastic that is going to make you stop thinking. It has to be that train wreck that makes you stop thinking negative and get back on the right track. Okay. So number one, don't ever try to control others. Number two, have expectations that are realistic. Don't expect too much. Number three, don't allow your negative feelings to grow. Don't foster them. Sit there. Don't sit in it. Don't go Netflixing and veg and lay like broccoli and veg out and let those negative emotions and thoughts keep going. Don't keep telling yourself you can't do something. Okay. Number four, stop accusing other people. Again, don't project. Don't project onto others your negative feelings about you. Don't project onto others your good feelings about you. You want to stop blaming other people. Again, if someone has violated you, forgive them, release them. Don't be bitter. but you don't have to deal with them, right? You don't have to incorporate them back into your life, but you do have to forgive them. And you cannot blame them for the mess that you find yourself in because you made the choices to get in that mess, right? So stop blaming and accusing other people. Number five, accept your mistakes. Again, you're going to fail, but many of us look at failure as a final nail in the coffin when indeed it's a lesson to be learned. So we need to learn the lesson and then pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and try it again. Okay. And number six, avoid arguing, because when you get into an argument, you're trying to control the situation. You're trying to get someone to see things your way. And that's why you elevate your voice. That's why you elevate your emotions and you become mad and you start having these bad thoughts. And then you start projecting and introspecting and all of that onto someone else. And at the end of the day, when you get into these situations where you're having these arguments, you start to feel like, man, I should have stopped at this point. When you can think after the fact, when you can think I should have stopped or I shouldn't have said that, you just avoid it. Just when I'm in a situation when people are talking at me and they're not listening, talking with me, every once in a while I slip and fall, girl. Every once in a while I go there. But what I'm learning is, you know what, just take a break. 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5. And in that it works because all of a sudden it shifts me out of wherever I was headed on that train. It shifts me onto another track of another train of thought, another place, another era. And I can be like, you know what, let's come back to this when we both have had some time to think about it, right? So you don't have to force your way onto someone or let someone force their way onto you. Just let's come back to that. Let's revisit that on a different day. I'm tired right now and I might say the wrong thing. So let's revisit it when we're both fresh. You know, just avoid arguments when you can. And sometimes you can't, but most times you can. And if the person wants to continue to argue, then you need to reevaluate the relationship because they should respect you and your wishes. And so hopefully that will help you deal with you and deal with your issues and not blame other people for the decisions that you make. Because if you make a poor decision, it's nobody's fault but yours. You're the one that made the decision. And I know that sounds harsh. And I know somebody will be like, because they took me there. But they couldn't take you there if you didn't let them. Okay? Hopefully that was helpful to you. I am Coach Linda, and I'm out. Thank you guys for watching. I see you guys.